your hair and say, I'm crowned with wisdom. Okay, put on some attitude. Are you ready with your attitude? Can you pick it from wherever it was? Are you ready? Now whip your hair and say, I'm crowned with wisdom. That's what I'm talking about. You may have your seats, please. This is a very beautiful convention, and it's dubbed Crowned with Wisdom. So we are here to gather pearls of wisdom from women who have gone ahead of us in different spheres of life. They have experience. So we're going to learn so much. And we are kicking off strong with a session dubbed Legal Wisdom. Now, what do you expect from this session? You expect to gain practical legal wisdom that will enable you to make well-informed decisions in your day-to-day lives, okay? Now, to help us do this, I am not a lawyer, but we have an amazing person in the house. She looks small, but she's great. Somebody said small people are bullets. So I just want to talk a bit about her so that you know who's coming here this evening. Okay. She is a distinguished advocate of the High Court of Kenya. She is a proud alumna of Moi University, where she earned her Bachelor of Laws degree and later obtained diploma in law from Kenya School of Law. She was admitted to the bar in 2011, marking the beginning of a remarkable legal career. She is the founder of Wanjiku, Karuga and Company Advocates, a reputable law firm established in 2014 and based in Eldoret. Her firm specializes in commercial law, conveyancing, family law, and criminal law. Beyond her advocacy work, she also serves as a commissioner for oaths, a notary public, and a certified mediator. All these reflect her commitment to justice, professionalism, and peaceful conflict resolution. Having said that, ladies, put your hands together and welcome on stage Sarah Wanjiku Karuga. Come on, make her feel welcome. Come on. Hey, after all I've said, you are sitting. Hey, are you jealous? Oh, can someone help me? Oh yeah, by the way, we didn't plan this outfit. You know, great minds think alike. And I heard that maroon is the color of wealth, so, oh well. Thank you so much, please. You may have your seats, thank you. You may have your seat, karibu sana. Thank you so much. We are so honored to have you on board.
Thank you very much.
I've introduced you, but in case I left something out, would you like to add something more?
Yes, apart from my academic qualifications, and I'm also a mother of two, age 6 and age 5. Tuliamua kufanya hiyo maneno tukifuatanisha. Mapema ndio best, si ndio? I am also born again, apart from being a younger sister of your mom. And I don't take this for granted. It is a privilege, especially if you have elder sisters or brothers who can open stages for you. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Mom.
Correct.
I'm sitting here because of her, and of course, Dad. We know each other at personal level at home. There's a way we address each other. But for purpose of this and in this house, she's my mom and my dad. So thank you very much, and I'm happy to be here. And as we are doing these things, legal professional lawyers are considered very serious people. I want us to, you know the way they preach and then you say, break it down. Let us break it down. We will speak the language that everyone can understand and simplify everything. I will go very low, even to speak Swahili. I want to ensure everyone understands. And normally when I'm given this opportunity, I always want to say what we know, what we assume, what we've been told, vis-a-vis what the law says. So in our discussion, that is it. So what does the law say? What is the practicality of the law vis-a-vis what you've heard, read, seen on social media? Because sometimes vioja mahakamani haikufanyikani it is not the same, sawa? Yeah, so ukienda na vioja mahakamani mentality kotini, you'll meet a different version or setup and you'll be culture shock. There is real, okay? So thank you very much. Yes, Bessie.
Thank you so much. So you've been in this field for a very long time. So from your experience as an advocate, what are the most common legal challenges that women face today?
Thank you very much. I will start by stating that all of us are raised in a community. There is a way we do things as women. There is a way a woman has been placed in a society. And majorly, I will say that is the main issue that we normally face, the way we see ourselves. So I will look at our culture. I will look at ignorance in law. I will look at our customary practices, discrimination, domestic violence, and lastly, I want to talk about our ignorance or lack of knowledge on the issues of law. Yes. So these are the things that affect the other main issues that women face. For example, whatever I've talked about, I will break it down to family law. What happens when you're faced with an issue of a husband or a father or a brother that has died? What happens then? How does a woman acquire property? When you're married, when you're separating, how do you get this property? How do you claim your husband's property, especially if he's deceased, or in a situation where you've divorced? What happens to your children? What happens to your jobs? So you will understand that when you are employed and you're pregnant and somebody looks at the law requires you to be given a maternity leave, and everyone is like, we can't employ women because of this issue, she's pregnant. We are going to pay while we are not receiving anything from her during this period. So what happens? So those are the challenges, and majorly you'll find these are the issues. The ones that I've pointed out, like discrimination, you'll automatically see that is one of the things that causes women, the way women are treated at workplaces, how you acquire your property. Because of our cultures, women are not supposed to have property. Properties are supposed to be registered under the husband's name. And when this husband dies, what happens? How will you get that property as the immediate beneficiary to the same? So those are the issues that we face as lawyers, and it is important for women to understand these issues and get out of them. And then I think from there it is easy. And next, and another thing, please, try and make a lawyer your friend. Okay? Don't look at them like somebody who is there. They will help you understand these things better.
Thank you so much. And now that you've mentioned it, what legal protection does a woman have in marriage around property ownership? Because that's something most women are clueless about.
Now, I want to talk about it before you are married. Definitely, women, this is how we start. I believe in Kenya, women are very hardworking. Extremely hardworking. And you can bear me witness. Either your sister, your auntie, a friend near you, somehow before they get married, they own properties already. So first of all, let me start from there. You acquiring a property before you married. Then now we go to the point of you are married. Now what happens to this property that you've acquired before you join this union? And then there are properties which are acquired during the existence of this union. And then what happens when this union collapses? So first of all, any property that you acquire before you get into a union, that is considered your property. It is not part of a property which has been acquired under the union. Then there are properties which are acquired during the existence of the union. that property, we term it matrimonial property. So what happens when the union breaks? When the union breaks, there's a law called Matrimonial Property Act. The Matrimonial Property Act helps a woman either to acquire the property or to show her contribution on acquiring of such properties. So it is very important for you to know, how do I claim my interest on this property that we've acquired that is now subject to this marriage that is breaking? So first of all, we look at two things. There is mandatory contribution and non-mandatory contribution. Mandatory contribution is where you take a loan and you've actually participated in purchase of that property. And non-mandatory contribution, now this comes where the property has been purchased by your husband, but you've lived with this husband, taken care of this husband, and helped him. And we normally do that. Make sure asubuhi amepiga suti. Make sure amekula breakfast. Na hana stress, ndio? Yeah. And sometimes you will realize when the children are there, you will take care of the children. And this man will leave the house comfortable, go outside to look for this money. And in this case, I talk mostly about women who are stay-home mamas. So you'll realize you might not have contributed monetary, but you have contributed somehow. So normally the courts look at those two things. What are your contribution? So after looking at the contribution, it first of all starts with financial contribution. You will give your evidence, the other will give their evidence. After that, now court will ask you, what is the other contribution that you have done towards either purchase or development of this property? So those are the things that the court looks at. So in financial contribution, make sure you keep your receipts. In non-financial, it is your evidence. Now, I know sometimes I've seen cases where the man will say, we had a house girl, and the house girl I was paying salary for the house girl. There are those situations where a man will say that my wife just used to go for sauna the whole day, and jacuzzi the whole day, and shopping the whole day. She was actually not there physically to take care of the children, take care of the home, but you can have your evidence right, and the court will always consider your contribution. There are these instances where I normally find the microphone so heavy. How do you handle it? Sorry. So sorry, no, it has affected my flow of thought. Now, there are these properties that, for example, you purchased, and after that, he came in and developed. You're getting? Or he purchases, you come in and you develop it. Now what happens? Now those are the things that you look at. At the point of purchase, fine, the property was valued at this. Now we are here. We have contributed. So the court also looks at that. So it will say, based on the contribution calculation, the woman has 40%, the husband has 60%, or vice versa, or whatever ratio the court will give. So most of the time you'll realize one person buys out the other person, or you agree, you buy out the other person, or you sell the property and you share based on what the court has said. So never carry your handbag and say, I did not have money, I did not do anything. Fight for what is rightfully yours. Are we crowned in wisdom?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. There is another giant in the room, especially in Western Kenya, where when your spouse dies, it's like you have become nothing. So what steps can you take in such a situation where your spouse is dead and there's no will?
Thank you very much. I've seen such situations, and most of the time, the widow comes to you after 2-3 years when things have started happening. And when you ask, what were you doing? I was mourning. I was healing. It happens, right? And this doesn't only happen in Western region, it happens across. So, kindly women, let us have our husband's documents. If not the original, have a copy. If a husband knows, you are 100% sure, this is my husband's lawyer. Get to know the lawyer also. When your husband says, I'm going to see the lawyer, tell the husband, let me take you to that lawyer. Familiarize yourself with this lawyer. Because some of them have their documents with a lawyer somewhere. Or your husband has kept the documents at the bank. And trust me, most women don't know where these documents are. They're title documents, you don't know where they are. And try as much as possible to ensure your husband trusts you so much that you know where the documentations are. There are those ones that are kept with the mother-in-law. Is that true? There are those ones that are kept by the elder brother or the trusted sister. So, first of all, let us be wise. Get to know where your husband's documents are. So, this is the first step. Your husband has died. You will mourn, you will grieve, you will bury. But if there are property involved, don't mourn for too long. We have children, right? You've worked so hard for these properties, right? Don't mourn for too long. The first step you're supposed to do is, first of all, gather all your husband's documentation. You have the burial permit, I'm assuming, and the ID. So first of all, get the ID and the burial permit and go to the registrar of persons. The registrar of persons mostly is at the commissioner's office around you. Place in a PC, DC, you remember those? So currently is the county commissioner. There's a registrar of persons. You go fill the forms, you get a death certificate. The moment you get the death certificate, you have all the titles, all the logbooks, everything that your husband owns, the share certificate for company AB, so and so. You have all those documents, the bank details. What you need to do, go see a lawyer and tell the lawyer, this is the death certificate, and this is the documentation that my husband has. What do I do next? What we normally do, we'll conduct search for all those documentation, for property at the lands, for motor vehicle with the NTSA, just to establish. With the bank details, we'll just note them down. After that, we will tell you we are going to file. You'll go to the chief, your area chief. Area chief somehow knows you. So make sure you know who your area chief is. Is that okay, ladies? Trust me, if I ask two people here who are your area chief, they'll look at me and like, I don't know. Make sure you know who your area chief is. After that, go to your area chief. He will prepare a letter. This letter confirms that you're the widow or you're the beneficiary, and these are the beneficiaries to the estate of so and so. Let me use my father. My father is called John Karuga. So he will write John Karuga, a resident of whatever area, location, and say that he died on a particular day and buried on a particular day. These is a member of my location, and the following are the beneficiary to the estate. So he will list them down. If there is house A, house B, house C, for example, as we had house A, house B, house C. So in house A, let me assume we are all Christian. It's a monogamous marriage. Sindio? So he will write, this is the widow, and these are the children. If anyone is deceased, he will indicate. If the widow is deceased, maybe your elder brother, or if you are the one, that is. So I'm dealing with you as a person, and maybe you're helping your family. So it will indicate. Then from there, you go back to the lawyer. Amongst yourself, you will appoint who will be the beneficiary, who will be the administrator. So in this case, no one has so far been appointed. So you will agree amongst yourself who will be the administrator. If the children are young, in most circumstances, I have seen it is the widow and sometime either the mother to your husband or the brother. Either. But ensure you have appointed an administrator very well, because they can bring chaos at some point when you're doing succession. So after you appoint the administrator, the lawyer will proceed and do the paperwork. So the next process is filling in the paperwork, file the petition, and have succession petition. After that, they will gazette at the Kenya Gazette. The Kenya Gazette gives 30-day notice that so-and-so has been appointed as an administrator to the estate of so-and-so. So it is given 30-day notice. After the 30-day notice, the lawyer goes back to the court. Going back to the court for purpose of confirmation. At this point, agree with your family members or agree as a family who is getting what, who is getting what. So when you go back to the lawyer, when the application is filed, after gazettement, they get a document called grant. That is not a final document. The grant only shows these are the administrator to the estate of so-and-so. And then from the issuance of grant, you're given 6 months before that grant is confirmed. So remember, there is 30 days and there is 6 months. So the 6 months, it is outside there. Anyone who has interest in that estate, maybe other people purchased, they are called liability. This is the time when they can come in and claim their share. If somebody says he was my husband and we had so-and-so children, so that is the time they come in and say, my children are also beneficiary of this estate and they are entitled to a portion of this estate. So the 6 months give time for anyone who has an interest to that estate to file their documentation. After the lapse of 6 months, we file an application for confirmation of the said grant and the distribution. So the document we get from there, it's called confirmation, certificate for confirmation of grant. That one has all the list of the estate and who is supposed to get what. So from there now you take to the relevant department. If it's the lands, it is moved to so-and-so. If it is with the NTSA, whatever motor vehicle or whatever is registered there, it's transferred to the exact beneficiary. So what do we do? Women, what are we supposed to do? I have started with, make sure you have your husband's documents. And number 2, don't mourn for too long. Sawa sawa? Asante.
Don't mourn for too long. So how about single moms? What rights do they have around custody of their children and support?
When we talk about children and the children custody and their support, I look at it in 2 scenarios. One scenario is where you have you got a kid but you did not get married to this person. Another situation is you got married but separated, or end of it all, you divorced. So normally what happens? One thing I want to make it very clear, and ladies, this is something that I see and it's a challenge. The law says it is supposed to be 50-50 contribution. Is that okay? So don't come to me and tell me he needs to, he's the father, he needs to. Just know it is a 50-50 contribution. There are those men who are very difficult, and there are those ones who are very, very easy. They'll be like, yeah, it's my kid. What do you want me to do? Can we agree? I'll pay the school fees. I will do so and all that. So there are men who are very easy, and they are very okay to take care of their children. They will pay school fees after very good school, or take care of the children, do shopping, make sure the children are comfortable. Then there are these other ones who will, first of all, say, this is not my child. So when they say, this is not my child, now you go for a DNA test. We make that application and tell the court we want to go do DNA test. Mostly it's men who will say, it's not my child. So the court will tell the man, we go do a test. So mostly we'll apply, if he's the one saying this is not his or her child, we will tell the court now, let them take care of the DNA cost. So definitely we go through the DNA. It's unfortunate, sometimes it comes out negative. We forge forward, we withdraw the application and move on. At some other time, it comes out positive. So now we proceed with the issue of maintenance. So there are 2 things. There is actual custody and there is physical custody. Actual is there is the legal custody and the actual custody. Actual custody is the physical custody, where if it's a child below 10 tender years, definitely most of the time the custody goes to the mother. But if in other scenario, a man can bring out an issue that this mother is not responsible, You know those women who are drunkard, they are never home. Actually, you as a neighbor, you'll also say, these kids are not taken care of well. So there are those scenario where if a man has those evidence of how irresponsible you are, the court will actually give custody of the children to the man. And this is another thing that I've noticed. Sometimes we ask for custody, but we want to leave the kids with their mother, our mother, their grandmother. Do you understand? Like, I want to go to Nairobi work. I've applied to court, I want custody, but actually if the court gives me the actual custody, I will not be available to take care of that child. Custody is only given to biological father and mother, unless in those special circumstances. So it's a 50-50 contribution, that is what I've said. So we'll go to court, it is very clear, and mostly the court will make decision based on looking at the best interest of the minor. So who is supposed to have this minor at this age? Best interest of this minor. That's how the court will decide. So the other things is the basic needs, which is food, shelter, clothing, education, and medical. So mostly the court will decide. If you do not agree, the court will make that decision. The interesting thing about the children cases, they never end. They keep on, you'll keep on going back to court because sometimes needs increase. Maybe the court say you'll be given monthly maintenance of 100,000, and then later in life you will go back to court and say maybe my kid has a special need that I need more. So somehow the court will look at the best interest of the child and the financial status of maybe the father and decide it will increase the maintenance. So the court will actually apportion based on your financial status who is able to pay for school fees at point A. It is not automatic. Sometimes you might be in a financial position where you want to take your kid to a very good school here in Nairobi, where the school fees is 500,000 per term. However, husband can only afford that one for 50,000 per term. So the court will ask you, this man wants to pay school fees but can only raise 50. So you can tell the court, fine, let me take the other responsibility, or I will take the responsibility of school fees and let him take care of the other things, like the house rent and all that. So those things vary. But most of the time, the only problem I have, remember, this thing is 50, parental responsibility is 50-50. That is one thing you need to know. And then every decision has to be made at the best interest of the child. So most of the time, you come there with your other personal issues, and I've seen that. So we always advise you to separate, because the court will not look at, this man did this to me, this man did this to me. Most of them come with those emotions, and sometimes they make very wrong decisions. So we always advise, separate yourself from the needs of the children and let me handle the issues of the children alone.
Thank you. I hope that's very clear. So let me shift a bit from family to work. So most of the time when we get a job, we get an employment, we're excited, you've been given a contract. Most of the time, people just check the salary. If it's okay, good. Maybe working hours, and then they sign. So what do we need to know before we sign a contract, an employment contract?
Thank you very much. I believe the moment you get a job, especially if you've been tamarking for long, that is a very exciting moment. And you find most people will not go beyond the salary and the fact that I have a job. So you think of, I have a job and I'll be paid 50,000. You don't look at the other nitty-gritty. So first of all, you need to understand what is the duration. Is it a contract or a lifetime employment? So that is very important. If it's a contract, you need to know for what period, what are my salary, what are my benefits. So those are the very important things. First of all, you will be called for an interview. They will advertise for a job. You will see all the requirements. You'll know this will be my job description, for example. Or sometime I've seen the government jobs when they advertise, they indicate how much you'll be earning, like with the way they calculate the net and the gross and all that. So first of all, get to understand that, go for an interview, get to know your role. The other thing you need to know is, what are my working hours? What happens if I work overtime? What happens what about leaves? What are the benefits that I'm getting on this job? What are the other taxes that I'm being deducted? So you need to understand what is the gross and what is the net. So what I'm being paid and what I go home with. Now you understand? So that you don't have conflict. If you don't understand, read your contract very well. Ensure you have a contract. Read it very well. If you do not understand, go to a lawyer and tell the lawyer to help you understand the terms of the contract. For example, I'm faced with a situation where this lady is employed, didn't read the contract. The issue here is you cannot leave employment unless you issue 3 months notice, failure of which you'll pay them equivalent to your 3 months. So because of maybe other issues which she did not disclose, you know, those moments of I can't, it's over, I'm not, you understand? Then a demand letter comes. And I'm telling you, did you have a contract? Because the demand was you pay the company. So did you have a contract? Yes, I did. Let me see the contract. Then I'm seeing that and I'm like, did you understand this? And she's like, no. So in such a situation, even if I am a very good lawyer, very articulate, I understand the law, what am I going to help you with? I will just tell you, let me negotiate the installment payment. Okay, so other things are on that contract. Are you supposed to work for a competitor or a competitor company? Get to know that. For what period are you supposed to be employed after leaving this employment? Are you supposed to go to work for another company that maybe is offering the same services or selling the same? What happens? Are they going to give me my maternity leave? And actually, you are supposed to have your 3 months paid maternity leave. Or they will indicate in the contract, according to you, you know, I'm supposed to be fully paid. However, in the contract, they've said you'll be paid half salary. So you come to me and ask, I'm not receiving all my money. Or after you get back to work, you want to be paid, and they're telling you no. Then you realize you signed a contract that said, during maternity, you'll be paid half. What about your leave? You're entitled to leave. That's what the law says. What does this contract say? What if you do not go for leave? What if you did not take all your leave days on this particular year? You are allowed to roll it over. Are you getting? So what about academic? You want to go for further studies. What happens? So it is very important, especially these big organizations. Some of us slide into small companies where there are no contracts. You report tomorrow, let's proceed. And then now when you want to leave, you can leave the way you came. But there are those company or organization, especially NGOs, kindly, if you do not understand, and the legal language there, sometimes it's very complicated. So don't mind paying a lawyer just to sit and help you understand legal terms. Is that okay?
Wow, that's amazing. While you are answering questions, I've had remarks like, aha, really? It means we don't have this information. So my question is, how do we get this information without necessarily having to go through law school? Is there somewhere where we can get this information?
I've said this, make a lawyer your friend. Do you know the way I have a dentist friend. She's my friend. I don't pay for those consultations. Are you getting?
Who are your friends?
So, wisdom, ladies, wisdom, okay? For example, if I have mom as my friend, and I have a spiritual issue, accessing her is very easy, right? For example, she's mom's friend, I've forgotten her name, she's a makeup artist. If I want makeup, she can maybe subsidize You understand? If you are my friend and you walk into my office and tell me, or call me and tell me, hey, Wanjiko, I'm faced with this. I will give you those one that you call wakili, a quick one, without even thinking. Okay, others I'll tell them, come to my office. When you walk into my office, you have to pay. So make sure you have a friend that is just wisdom. Okay, another thing, let's read. Don't read these heavy books. There are those books which are very heavy. Get your constitution. Have you ever looked at your constitution, the Kenyan constitution? Trust me, the wordings are very simple. The wordings, trust me, don't look at it like a legal document or the way it is constitution. The wordings are very simple. And decide, today I want to learn about my rights. And mostly that's what people look at. Today I want to read something to do with land. Today I want to read something to do with these appointments and the roles and the courts. Look at some acts, the penal code. If you don't understand, it's okay. You can use Mr. Google. But all in all, as I will tell you, since you're not qualified in that area, there are areas that I'm not qualified in. I consult. And if there is need to pay 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, it is better than to cry later. So read widely. Make sure you have a friend who is in that profession or whatever area you really need help. And I believe you'll be okay. You don't need to go back. You don't need to go through the process that I've gone through to understand. Yeah.
That was very, very insightful. Why don't we appreciate Sarah for that information? We'll take a few questions, maybe 2, maybe 3. If there is something you've wanted to know, this is free consultation, just for now. Take advantage and ask. If you have any question, please just raise your hand. Pastor Tina will come to you. Any questions? Let's see, any questions? Or there's a question.
Sorry, I was just saying that it's a very bad question. But I'm going to ask it anyway.
Ask.
So, what happens with property if the first wife passed away, had children, and now you are the second wife, and unfortunately your husband passes away? What's the process there? Because both of you are married to him, both of you have children. How do you proceed?
Okay, that's a very good question. You called it bad? I will say it. It's a very good question. Now, you are a wife. I always talk about hierarchy of dependence. Hierarchy of dependence start from, we are assuming it's the man who has died. Men in the house, we are truly sorry, you will live long. You will not die in Jesus' name.
Amen.
But for purposes of us understanding this thing, where I say a man, you put a woman and then apply it. Okay, men in the house? So for example, this man has died. This man has a property. Were you married during or after? Mm-hmm. Then you... Now that's another topic. Let's not deal with marriage. Let me deal with this property. Now, I will look at it this way. You are a dependent in this hierarchy as a wife, first of all, and you have your children, and the first wife has children. Now, I talked about when someone dies and the chief is writing this letter, he will say, these are the dependents. First wife or first house. Yes, and then indicate the beneficiary. Second house, and indicate the beneficiary. Now the issue arises, when was this property acquired? Who is entitled to this property? This woman came after, but you are a wife in that home. You are a dependent and you have the children of the deceased. So most of the time the court will distribute the estate, either equally or sometime they will say, after this woman came, these properties were acquired. You'll find in some circumstances, and mostly, there are those properties which were acquired when the first wife was there. Then when the second wife comes, there are other properties which were acquired. And sometimes you'll find the second wife saying, the first wife and the children have inherited. Sometimes you'll realize maybe the children are bigger and they have already acquired the property. And maybe the second wife have minor children. So you'll find most of the time them saying, the second wife saying, that this property that was acquired after I came belonged to me and my children. So when there is that dispute, the court will come in and distribute the estate of the deceased. It will either look at the beneficiary and distribute it. If they are minor, they will say, you are holding it in trust of the children. Whoever is, the ones who have attained the age of majority, they will be given that property. So if you do not agree, the court will make that decision and distribute the estate. But all of you will be included. House first wife, they will write deceased. Second wife, then with your children. Yeah. So as I'm answering that, a situation where the brother, you are married, and then we are talking of a succession of your father-in-law, and your husband is deceased. So they are supposed to indicate in that letter that he is a child of that home, but they indicate it as deceased. So during distribution, they will say that this property belonged to this brother who has died. So his interest will definitely goes to the family. Yes. So kuna wrangles too. Sometimes that brother has so many women and children. So those are just issues that will come up. So basically, let's understand just the procedure, and then when there are legal issues, you go to a lawyer who will understand how to handle it, depending on your various issues. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much for that. I'll take one more question.
Hi, everyone. What happens during the succession period if there was a will, both parents are dead, there's a will, but the person who has been put as the executor, like not all siblings support the person. They don't want the person because they feel like they're not really doing it out of love.
What is a will? This is the last wish of the deceased. Okay. And first of all, it has to be respected. Unless there are issues on how the said will was prepared, how distributions were done, and all that. So first of all, I will look at it. It's a will. Let's first of all look at this will. Are you agreeable with it? The way either your husband or late father distributed, or your mother distributed. Are you okay with it? The role of this executor is to just ensure, be the representative, as somebody who will hold it until tail end. So you will definitely have to go to court. The moment you're done with court, everyone goes with their own thing, and the executor is rendered useless. He has no interest in the estate. So they will not, unless that executor wants to interpret the will. You know, sometimes they try to interpret. There is another situation which is very funny. The widow has been given the vehicle. So the deceased has indicated it as an automobile. But the executor is saying it's a mobile phone. No. Now we had to go and break it down, define what a mobile phone is and what is an automobile. Okay, so unless the executor is doing something to interfere, and mostly maybe is interfering with the estate before you're done with the succession. You can go to court and stop it. You file an application as a beneficiary, and then the way you will file it, you will say he's interfering with the estate in 1, 2, 3, 4 ways, and he has to be stopped. So you tell court maybe their rental houses is the one collecting. So you tell the court all the money that is collected from the rental be kept in a particular account, joint account for 1, 2, 3, until the succession course is determined. So maybe he's intermingling, especially where there is flow coming in. Those are the scenarios that I've seen, mostly the executor interfering with the will or the estate of the deceased. But with a will, it's very easy, very clear. The court doesn't even interfere, as long as, unless there are no dispute. You know, sometimes you will say, they have been provided for more than myself. So you can go to court and say, I'm a beneficiary, I've not been given anything in this estate. So the court will actually look at it and might revoke the whole will or provide for the beneficiary who has not been adequately provided for. So that brings us, make sure you do your will properly.
Has your question been answered? Nice. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was very, very insightful. Did you learn something? Do you feel like we need more time for this free counsel? Bad manners. Just pay a lawyer, please. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. Let's put our hands together and appreciate Sarah for this amazing session. We've learned so much. And please pay a lawyer and get this information, because it's very important, right? I've learned some things today that I didn't know that are very, very important. So please do what? Hey, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Or make a lawyer your friend. I have a lawyer friend, thank God. So thank you so much. One more time, let's appreciate Sarah for that amazing work that she has done. She has done so much research so that you learn something. I hope you learned something.